McCarthy are meeting as we speak. The House Freedom Caucus says McCarthy shouldn't even be there. And really, there's nothing to say to President Biden. One of its more prominent members, Republican Congressman from Virginia, Bob Good, with us now. Good to see you, sir, as always. Is McCarthy even being at the White House betraying you, the Freedom Caucus, that gave him the speakership?
No, we're behind our speaker. He's doing his job to represent the House Republicans, or frankly, the entire congressional House. He's the Speaker of the House. We're behind him. However, the House has done its job. As you know, we spent 90 days negotiating a debt ceiling increase while the Senate and the President were MIA on the sidelines, not doing their job. Many thought the House couldn't pass a debt ceiling increase. And I'll remind you, Leland, no Republican really wanted to raise the debt ceiling. Almost no Republican on the House side has ever voted for a debt ceiling increase. However, we came together and negotiated a debt ceiling increase with 217 votes out of the House to have a modest increase by D.C. standards of $1.5 trillion in exchange for real cuts and reforms. 80% of Americans want us either not to raise the debt ceiling or only to raise it with significant cuts in spending. It's only about 20% who are saying they want the debt ceiling raised without any conditions. We're not going to do what we've always done and just kick the can down the road and be irresponsible and contribute to the $32 trillion national debt that we have with no reforms in place.
All right, so I'm trying to square this circle of Kevin McCarthy representing the House, representing the Freedom Caucus. You are behind him. Does that mean whatever deal he comes back with from the White House, you guys would be willing to support?
Well, what we have said all along, we've said it in our conference, we've said it publicly, and I've certainly have said that many, many times myself, that this is the deal that can get a majority out of the House. It's reasonable, it's responsible. The Democrats cannot defend being against the cuts and the reforms that we have put in this package, you know, going back to pre-COVID spending for non-defense discretionary, rescinding the student loan transfer scheme, rescinding the IRS expansion, you know, rescinding hundreds of billions of dollars of climate credits for the wealthiest and most elite among us. And so that's why the Democrats are lying and saying we're cutting Social Security and Medicare, or cutting veterans benefits or the military, when they know that is not the case. So this is a deal that can get the majority out of the House. The Democrats need to pass it in the Senate. The President needs to sign it and not risk any consequence that would come with not raising the debt ceiling.
Yeah, I think we all can agree that not raising this would not be good for the American economy, or really for the American taxpayer. Take a listen to the President. Here you go.
I think there are some MAGA Republicans in the House who know the damage that it would do to the economy. And because I am president, and president's responsible for everything, Biden would take the blame, and that's the one way to make sure Biden's not reelected.
In politics, what is the chance, and I'm wondering what the damage to the Freedom Caucus would be, if a deal comes out of the White House with Kevin McCarthy that requires neither the Freedom Caucus nor the Progressive Caucus from the Democratic side, and a compromise on this is passed against your objection, doesn't that just cut the Freedom Caucus off at the legs?
Well, to speak to what the President just said, Leland, you cannot do much more damage to the economy than what he has done with the massive inflation that he's caused, the lowest labor participation rate in the history of the country. Americans are hurting. They can't afford to pay groceries, buy gas, pay utilities. Housing prices are through the roof. Interest rates are through the roof. This president has done tremendous harm to the country, and that would be exacerbated by us just raising the debt limit without any conditions or any cuts in place. This is a new Congress. This is a new Republican Party. We served notice to that effect back in January. We meant it when we said that we're not going to raise the debt ceiling without these cuts in place, and we're going to hold the President and the Senate to that. And we're not going to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. We're in a position of power and leverage, and we're going to utilize that for the good of the country, for the good of the American people, and for the good of our fiscal stability.
All right. Congressman Good, we appreciate it. Thank you, as always, for the time on this Monday. Good to see you, sir, back with the panel. Look, Stephanie, what is the chance